Uzès is a small town and a commune in the Gard department in southern France. It lies about 25 kilometers north-northeast of Nîmes. History. Originally Uzès was a small Gallo-Roman oppidum or administrative settlement. The town lies at the source of the Altazan River at Fontaine-d'Eur, from where a Roman aqueduct was built in the 1st century BC, to supply water to the local city of Nîmes, 50 kilometers away. The most famous stretch of the aqueduct is the Pont du Gard, which carried fresh water over splendid arches across the river Gard. The civilized and tolerant urban life of 5th century Uzès contrasted with the Frankish north. Jews were apparently settled there as early as the 5th century. St. Ferréol, Bishop of Uzès, allegedly admitted them to his table. On this account, complaint was made of him to King Childebert I, whereupon the bishop was obliged to change his attitude toward the Jews, compelling all those who would not become Christians to leave Uzès. After his death, many who had received baptism returned to Judaism. Jews were expelled from the region in 614. In early 8th century, Uzès was a fortified civitas and bishopric under the Archbishop of Narbonne. During the Umayyad conquest of Gothic Septimania, Uzès became the northernmost stronghold of the Andalusian circa 725. Charles Martel went on to lay siege to the stronghold in 736, but it remained in Gothic Andalusian hands up to 752, when counts loyal to Anselm of Nîmes handed over a large number of strongholds to the Frankish Pepin the Short. In 753 the stronghold rebelled against the Franks after Anselm's assassination, but the uprising was suppressed on a Frankish trustee of Pepin imposed. In the 13th century, Uzès hosted a small community of Jewish scholars, as well as a community of Cathars. Like many cloth manufacturing centers, the city and the surrounding countryside were strongly Protestant during the wars of religion in the 16th century, which wreaked havoc in Languedoc. Numerous of the city's churches were trashed and burned by furious Protestants. Only 2 remain today. Dukes of Uzès. The title of Duke of Uzès, in the family de Crossold-Uzès, is the premier title in the peerage of France, coming right after the princes of the blood. The title of Seigneur d'Uzès is attested in a charter of 1088. After part of Languedoc was attached to royal domain, the lord's military skill and fealty to the crown propelled the rise through the nobility, until, after the treason of the last Duke of Montmorency, beheaded in 1632, the title of first Duke of France fell to Uzès, who retained the stronghold in the center of town today, which has expanded round the 11th century to a Burmond. If France were a kingdom, it would be the job of the Duke of Uzès to cry out, "Loire est morte, vive Loire," at each state funeral, and defend the honor of the Queen Mother. 21 dukes have been wounded or killed as hereditary champion of France over the centuries. Sites. The present-day city retains the trace of its walls as a circuit of boulevards. A Capuchin chapel, built in 1635 to house the mortal remains of the dukes, occupies the site of a 1st century AD temple dedicated to the first Roman emperor, Augustus. There are monuments of the prestige of the former bishopric, once one of the most extensive of Languedoc, but extinguished at the Revolution, and private houses that witness the wealth that the textile trade brought in the 16th century. The town is also homes to 3 feudal towers: the Burmond Tower, the Bishop Tower and the Royal Tower. Uzès Cathedral was destroyed in the Albigensian Crusade, rebuilt, and destroyed again in the 16th century wars of religion. Rebuilt again in the 17th century, it was stripped out during the French Revolution. The 11th century Romanesque tour fenestrelle, with its paired windows, is probably the most famous icon of the city. It was listed as a French historical monument in 1862. Uzès is famous in the area for its Saturday market, as not only does it sell local produce but it also sells cloths of the region as well as plenty of tourist delights. Population. Notable people. Firman Abba Uzès, scholar who worked on physics, theology and philosophy. Vice Admiral François-Paul Broys de Galliers, Count de Broys, the French commander in the Battle of the Nile. The unnamed second son of Doda, who was famous for her medieval literature handbook for William David Redfern. English music photographer.